This is what the game is right now. Alright? This is not what the game should be like. Paimon should talk to you whenever you're like wandering around or you're like trying to figure out what to do next. Or she could be like the third wheel to a conversation. She's in the stands narrating. Oh, I gotta fix it. Hold on. Okay. Paimon should not be whatever the heck this is. Okay? Paimon should not be whatever the hell this is. You understand? It's ridiculous and stupid. I'm so over it. It's been a year and change. Okay. I'm sick and tired of it. Okay. I don't know any better way to drill the point home that we Genshin Impact players are sick and tired of Paimon.
Let's get scratching.
You mean like how you control different people in the overworld, but then when you're actually doing a story, it like transforms you into the Traveler? Is that what you mean? Due to the nature of this being a gacha game, some of the immersion is killed by virtue of exactly what you're saying. More weird is how you're able to play as characters that you might not even encounter in the main story yet. A new player rolls for the newest character that they won't even see in the story for like another 40, 50 hours of game. If this was a standard RPG, obviously you wouldn't be able to control characters in your party that you hadn't met yet. It is unfortunate. There's a lot of things in this game that kill immersion. For example, I'll be in like some part of the story. There's like some war going on between the people of Inazuma, and I'll be like walking around the area that the story is supposed to take place, and there's like nothing there but like a bunch of hilichurls, right? Like it's just peace and calm. And then I'll do the story and all of a sudden there's like people everywhere and they're like fighting and I'm supposed to be like super immersed, and it's very difficult to get immersed in this story, I agree. And it's got nothing to do with the way it's written. It has more to do with the way that the game is designed.
Rest assured.
At times, the characters in this game don't feel like real characters. Actually, at times, it feels like the characters that you control are separate from the characters that you see within the story. One major problem I have with the story as well, the story is segmented. One of the biggest things that gets you immersed into a story is the ability to watch or read or experience the story consecutively. This is why people binge Netflix shows and anime in one sitting, so that they can remember the occurrences of story actions and main plot points immediately. It's so much easier to immerse yourself in a story if you watch like season 1 and season 2 back to back, versus if you watch season 1, season 2 comes out like 4 years later. You can't really remember all the new, like you'll remember the general story, but you won't remember like all the nuances. X character in one episode had a glint in their eye, and that was supposed to hint to them becoming the bad guy or like stealing something in like season 2. You're not going to remember something like that because you didn't watch it back consecutively. This game has that phenomenon to like 1,000. You'll have very brief story moments that get released one patch over another, and it's just very difficult to be immersed when you're experiencing the story over such long stretches of time. And what makes it even worse, there's no rewind function, there's no theater, so even if you wanted to like rewatch some of these story elements, you actually can't. There's no way in-game to rewatch. Even if I Alt F4 right now, it's gonna replay the story of this cutscene exactly where I left off. It's really weird. Not to mention a lot of the story in this game is obviously padding. I feel like I'm playing one gigantic filler sometimes. I'll be doing story parts, and there will be some sort of gigantic climatic boss fight. Some gigantic snake is causing like some huge turmoil. He's changing the space-time continuum, and I just can't really get immersed in what's going on because I haven't played this game in like forever, and I don't remember what's going on. I'm using certain characters in places that I shouldn't. So another major thing that affects the immersion of this game is the difficulty. Because this is a gacha game, the game developers aren't able to balance the main story of story of the game appropriately. In a normal RPG, if you're playing Final Fantasy or something, the game developers can balance character progression and difficulty as per the challenges that they've set to the player. If you're fighting the final boss, the game developer can assume that the player should be X level. They should be at least level 50 by now. They've, been fighting wild and random encounters and other bosses up to this point. They should know X number of spells, and they can tailor the difficulty of their game and bosses that way. Because this is a gacha game, and a huge part of the character progression is tied to finances and how much you roll into the game, they're not able to do that. Most of the main story quests, the difficulty is just all over the place. And it usually edges on the side of it being incredibly easy. What ends up happening is I'm doing the main story quest, and there's this gigantic, ferocious, roaring beast of a character that is like altering the space-time continuum as we know it. I come in, I've been playing the game since day one, and I ult the thing like one time and he's dead. That like completely kills the immersion of the experience. Versus obviously, like, if it's someone who's like day one playing, they're gonna have a much more difficult time fighting that person. But at what cost? This phenomenon doesn't just affect old players who have been playing this game for a while. It also affects rich people, people that roll a lot, people that roll little. And so it's very difficult to find the appropriate balance for the main story in this game. It just completely kills your immersion. Imagine you're playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. You finally get up to Sephiroth. He's supposed to be the big bad head honcho, and you limit break him once and he's dead. And there you go. Like, that completely kills the immersion of the experience.
Hey boss, you think we have enough fireworks now?
Are you kidding? This ain't nowhere near
Another
enough.
thing that kills the immersion,
Boss,
by the
if
way,
we want more fireworks,
is
we're gonna have to steal
the
them in
sheer
city.
amount of
Ain't gonna
reused
be
enemies
easy.
that they use in the story. The amount of
You got a
times that
point.
I've beaten up
All
these
right,
treasure
then we
hoarders
steal those
through
things
my
that make a
countless
real
hours
bang,
of
but
play
don't
in
light
this
up real
game
pretty.
is
What do they call 'em?
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So now, in
firecrackers.
my
Those
brain
will do
is
the job.
already,
All
I
we
don't
need
care
to
what
do
these
is,
guys are
as long as
talking
we
about.
Got it, boss.
Just get to the
But,
part
boss,
where I had to fight
Hey,
them,
don't
and then I
worry
can
about it.
two-shot
The
them and
middle
move
of the
on.
swamp.
These
Boys,
characters
just
are
a few more
literally
batches
copy
and
and
we'll be-
paste enemies that I've been like farming since
Hey,
day
boss,
one.
we-
Yeah,
the
exactly.
middle
They're
of the
doing their
company,
Team
one of
Rocket
the boys
thing.
hadn't set up-
But how did the middle of
We stolen the goods.
It's time to make
We'll
our
show
move.
them. We'll
Ready?
sell them on the
Let's
black
go.
market and make a good penny for ourselves.
Drop your
And
weapons
then yang
and
dang
surrender
doodle,
immediately.
here comes me.
Get out of my way!
Right?
You're gonna death
Ult
wish or
this dude.
something? I'll show you.
See this dude, and they're all dead.
Wait a second.
Enemy reinforcements are coming. Cool.
Lady
Right,
Kutchi.
there he goes. Zhongli's out here. Zhongli,
So you do
comes the
recognize
meteor.
me then.
hit him with this.
I'll say it one more
Oh,
time.
look, that guy's still alive.
Drop your weapon and
There's
surrender.
the thing here.
Now.
Yep, he's
Who would
dead.
have thought we'd run into the
This
U-Haul all
guy.
the way out here?
He's dead. Right? And there you go. All of the story that led up
We
to this
surrender,
climactic
U-Haul.
moment of me re-seizing the stolen
some
goods from
answers.
these treasure hoarders.
Tell the truth.
You see what I'm
We were gonna
saying? Like,
smuggle
there's
these
just no
fireworks into the
immersion.
city.
The goal is to if that's the case, then Paimon think about it. Who doesn't like
This was the
delicious
worst
food?
idea
And when
ever.
it comes
It was fine like month 1, month 2. Now, like a year and like some change, I'm so tired of Paimon. The main character has a voice actor. They should have used him. They should have literally just had the main character do all the lines. They should have just had Paimon be like a Navi. Someone you talk to when there's no one else to talk to and can advance the story or can give you direction on where to go. They shouldn't have literally made Paimon the main character of the goddamn game.
Paimon knows just what to write. Let's
Like,
say
shut
there's a
the
chef
fuck
in
up. I'm
Alera
so sick of
who's
Paimon.
very
Like, Travelers, I'm so, okay. I'm
Did
so
anyone
over
Yes. To gain one's
the
empathy,
silent
there must be
protagonist shtick in
familiarity.
games.
I would like
Zelda
to
was
this
the
chef
only
character of
game
ours a little
ever
deeper.
to be able to have a good silent protagonist, period. And honestly, Link is a shitty character too.
With
But
others
we're not
familiar
ready
with
to talk
cooking,
about that, are we?
why don't we
I'm
become
so
all the more
tired of this
convincing?
silent protagonist thing in these games. The purpose of these characters is to be a foil for the main character. Third wheel? Dude, I'm on the side of the road wheel. I'm basically may as well not even
It is
exist.
most
Paimon is the main character of this game. If you let me show you how ridiculous this is.
It's because he's super busy. He receives the customers, he takes the orders, and he does all the cooking himself. That should keep him busy enough. He's so busy every day that he doesn't even have time to take a break, which obviously also means he doesn't have time to eat. Hey, it's just a story. Besides, it's supposed
Okay.
to leave a powerful impression.
This is what the game is right now. Alright?
willing
This
to
is
delegate
not
tasks
what
to
the
others.
game should
He's
be like.
overconfident
If
and tries to
anything,
accomplish everything on
Paimon
his own.
should just be a foil for the main character. Paimon should talk to you whenever you're like wandering around or you're like trying to figure out what to do next. Or she could be like the third wheel to a conversation. She's in the stands narrating. Oh, I gotta fix it. Hold on.
The chef gets busier and
Okay.
busier to the
Paimon
point where he can't stand
should
up
not
straight
be
anymore, and he has
whatever the
big,
heck this
dark
is.
circles under his
Okay.
eyes. The customers tell him to take a few days
Paimon
off
should
to
not
get
be
some rest.
whatever the hell this
But
is.
the
Is
You
clouded
understand?
by the chores before him.
It's ridiculous and
oblivious to
stupid.
mountains.
It's been a year and change.
The chef falls
Okay.
ill, and his cooking becomes far worse than when he started.
I'm sick and tired of it.
Can't convince him to rest, and they don't like his
I'm sick
cooking
and tired of it.
anymore.
I don't know any better way to drill the point home that we Genshin Impact players are sick and tired of Paimon.
Never
Make
have
Zhong
you
Li the
modus
main character.
operandi.
He has a nice voice,
The story is quite
Everybody
simple,
likes Zhong
without
Li.
embellishment,
right?
yet deeply meaningful. If our listener is sensible, then she
Yeah,
should quickly grasp the
Osmantha's
meaning
wine.
contained.
It's funny too because people talk about this all the time. The main character has a voice actor. He has lines.
Well, the city is built above water, so it probably relies on the windmills to draw the water upwards.
That's correct. The winds blow through Mondstadt all year, so this supply of water is...
Ah, mascots. So, like you then, Paimon. I've heard that if you give tavern
Does someone want to explain this to me? This is what the game. This is literally what I just described. This is literally what I just described. Does somebody want to explain this to me? Look, I like the main character talks. Paimon answers. The main character talks, and then Paimon answers. Okay, this is what the game should be, and it's here. They have a gazillion dollars at this point. Look at this. Yo, Traveler, tell them, let them know. Tell me about these books.
About those books in the restricted section that Lisa mentioned. Have you ever wondered what sort of books might be kept in there?
Books?
Perhaps
Tell me more.
It contains books not suitable for children.
Racy books, my favorite. What else we got? Night and Day, dude. Father Time. Tell me.
Day and night both seem particularly short. The skies here are full of stars, but
Dude,
they aren't the same as
astrology
the
now?
ones
He's
seen
telling
from
me
my
about
home.
astrology? Yo,
I wonder if the
101.
fates of people
Sit
from
in
Teyvat
class.
are
Talk
also
to him.
related.
And then Paimon comes in, right? This is what the game should be like. So somebody sit the goddamn down and tell me why the game isn't this way. It makes no sense to me, and I'm so over it. Broke back. I'm so tired of it. My goodness. I like this voice actor. He's good. And they pay him to make voices that no one is ever going to hear. With every new patch, he gets new voice work. He talks about the different characters in the game. He talks about all this stuff. But no one ever is going to hear this because no one's scrolling through all this stuff.
I heard that after the Sakoku decree is lifted, Yae Miko plans to run a rental service where people can try on shrine maiden outfits as a tourist attraction in various places. Combined with the latest
He's talking about
camera
Yae
technology
Miko?
from
That's a
Fontaine,
character that's not even
it
out
seems like
yet.
a real
He's
lore
talking about
maker.
her.
shared
Look
this
how
idea
much
with
he's
Rosaria.
talking. This is not.
I
This is
feel
how
like
much
they could do
Paimon should
something
talk.
similar at the
Oh.
Church of Favonius with the garments
What?
they wear.
I see.
Think that,
This is exactly what it should be like.
Sadly,
Clip it and ship it. I've heard enough. K's closed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.